Chaz, welcome back to the show. It's The Grit. It's April 11th, 2025.
2 times 1 week. This is a lot like that famous internet sensation. Two podcasters, one mic.
Have you ever seen that famous viral video?
Absolutely not.
Have you ever been sent it and did you opt out or you just chose not to search for it?
Yeah, I don't think I ever got sent. Chose not to search for it. I've read, and I'm happy that I chose the path I did. Read something recently about some guy who watched it who said it's something you just can't unsee.
I saw the beginning of the video and I turned it off. And as soon as I realized where it was going, I turned
Yeah,
it off.
yeah. Smart. Do you feel good? When are you going to introduce to Austin though?
I shudder to think the things that he will be exposed to.
Man, I mean, by that time though, maybe we lived in the wild west of internet naughty. Maybe it'll all clean up.
You know,
That's
it's not
it's
a
the way
bad thought.
humans normally go. The arc toward good.
It's actually a logical thought because in the wild west of the internet and things being, you now have more autonomy, you now have more access. At the same time, it's just the people who are controlling the marionette. Like Zuckerberg then applies a lot more, you know, whatever privacy policies basically on Instagram. It used to just be this is all about freedom of speech and access to everything. And then they realized, no, we need to actually employ some rules and boundaries here.
They realize that the natural human arc is to porn at the end. Everything leads to porn.
Yeah, that might be true about humans. Well, welcome back to the show. It's like I said, April 11th. The WSL El Salvador event is on. Round of 16 men are in the water right now. It's heat number four. Cosby Colapinto versus George Pitar.
Are you multi-screening?
I am, yeah, watching it.
Uh,
I
have
feel it's my obligation to our listeners.
have you watched how much of this event have you watched thus far?
I watched all day yesterday and
Mm.
a little bit from the previous rounds.
This thing is interminable somehow. I mean, the fact that it's literally day seven, I don't know that I've ever written on beachcrit.com. Day seven, chat live, day seven of an event. This is not, it's usually day one, day two, day three, day four, finals day or something, right?
Yeah.
We're dragging ass in El Salvador.
Yeah, it's pretty slow. Did you watch yesterday?
I did. I watched some. I was on the train up to LA, so watched a couple hours on the train and watched in the morning, and so got the max slowness.
Gotcha.
Uh, and it's just, I'll tell you, you were just in El Salvador. Uh, Talked about it last show. Talked about the helicopter. Who knew that that helicopter would become such big news, big
Seem
surf
like
news?
not. I mean, honestly, that means it's a slow news week.
Exactly. But in any case, hearing you talk, seeing your Instagram clips from where you were, it looked like you were somewhere better than Punta Roca to begin with.
Mhm.
Secondly, nobody wants to watch average Point Break with for the best surfers in the world. You just
Yeah.
absolutely do not want to watch it. Like, I don't care what they do on it. It looks fun to surf. It looks super fun to surf. And if El Salvador's whole goal in this is, hey, come on down, sir, you can surf our waves too. But they don't need the WSL to do that. It's a waste. It's a
It
waste of all those guys' ability and girls' ability and talent.
well, it's true. It is a good wave, but it's not a world class wave.
Yeah.
And I think when it's a little onshore, it becomes a lot more rippable. But it's still not a world class wave. Like you have J Bay is a far superior version to this.
I mean,
So
just watching them. I mean, the whole thing, the WSL, and it's always been farcical, but like the fact that it's been even more farcical this year, I feel in Elo's gone, all of the clown show has left, but somehow then the World Surf League becomes a absolute puppet for whichever
yeah,
for anything. And I'm not being anti El Salvador here at all, right? Like they
yeah.
have their government, they do them. You all fine and good. But it is diametrically opposed to the World Surf League like, progressive program circa 2 years ago. Same with Abu Dhabi. Like, so now it's how much do you want to pay? We will sports wash anything for you. North Korea, how much?
Yeah, true. Well, it's nice to have on the side when you're doing household chores or podcasting.
That's true.
So there's that. I had a quick question I forgot to ask you last time we spoke, but how do those April Fool's articles hit on Beach Grit?
It's so funny
It
that
always catches me off guard a little
you
bit.
get people every time. You get people every single time. Where Derek had emailed me the night before, and he was like, "April Fools, let's do something on Kelly coming back or whatever. Or would you do it tomorrow?" And then Derek said, "Never mind, I'll do it." And anytime I get the April Fools, I'm like, no, it's beneath us. It's beneath the dignity of Beach Grit to do April Fools. Uh, and then they always work. That's the crazy thing. They work, and then I think people get a kick out of them. And yeah, funny.
So they work in that people start lighting up the comment section, buying into it, and it does
Yeah.
well in terms of hits.
And then so it like I think every April Fools prank like that has the same arc. It's indignant. What? This can't be happening. No way. Da, da, da. People getting mad, mad, mad. And then somebody will mention April 1st, and then everyone will have the slow come down. Oh, you got me. You got me. You got me.
So, I mean, we as humans should be better. Like, we should be able to figure out when you wake up that it's April 1st and just be on guard all day. But
Yep.
somehow, every single year, the busyness of life distracts us. But then I also realize I think we want the thrill. I think we
Yeah.
wake up that morning, like, intentionally masking the fact that we know we're going to get duped just so we can get that little twinge of excitement.
Totally. Because getting duped takes you on a journey of emotions. It's
Yeah.
you get duped. You believe the false thing first. So you have a spike in whatever there. Then you realize you were duped and you feel shame. But then you also feel, well, that was a good, you got me, right? You feel shame and then you feel pride for the person or source that duped you.
Then you look around and you realize the other people got duped in the comment section too. And so you're brethren at that point.
Yep,
You're kind of like,
exactly.
ah, that was fun, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good. Well, I'm glad that worked. Have you gotten any kickback from the Cole Houshmand stuff yet?
No, not
Still nothing.
nothing, nothing.
Okay.
Crickets,
All right.
radio silence.
All right, then I
Amazing,
guess
right?
it's done. Yeah.
Yeah, it's done. It's done. He went and he called Andrew Tate his G, uh, posed like out of his mind happy with Andrew Tate and his bros and his G's, posted it and got away with it. Got off scot-free.
All right. Well, 1 month in, I feel like you're not going to get kickback at this point. So,
I'm not, but I guess he didn't get off scot-free. Like anytime Cole Houshmand stories come up now,
yeah, yeah.
on any other source, there's inevitably somebody in the comments mentioning Andrew Tate. So that
Oh my
thing will
God.
dog him.
We were dying laughing in El Salvador reading the comment section on day one of the event, the comment section on Beach Grit
Yeah.
about the El Salvador event where Cole had a heat. And then in the comments section, somebody was like, my God, he just beat that wave like it was a
Okay.
Romanian hooker trapped in his
Yeah.
basement or something
Yeah.
like that. Just brutal.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully at the very least, that follows him around where he will not be able to shake Andrew Tate from his shadow.
Yeah. Somebody else was like, um, he dismantled that wave like Trump dismantled my 401k or something like Trump's tariffs dismantled my 401k. Um, okay, good. Well, Patreon, we got to remind people, Patreon, go. You missed a great, if you're not on Patreon, you missed a banger this week. Go
It,
get it.
you really did. You could have made money in this fluctuating stock market in the surfboard industry, the vast surfboard industry, if you would have listened to that show.
Absolutely. It's too late now, but the entertainment is still there if you want to
Yeah.
go listen. So
Yep.
go over to Patreon where we're dropping bonus episodes every week. Just search Extra Fine Grit. Grit Surf Pod, I think is the actual URL. Patreon.com/Grit Surf Pod. So go get that. Back to El Salvador for 1 minute. We talked earlier this week about Filipe Toledo having a little meltdown and how that's probably not going to bode well for him with the judges and his general. I don't know, way that people view him. And then yesterday, he lost to Al Cleland Jr., somebody who I think anybody would have bet money on Felipe winning.
I looked at the stats for that one, and Felipe was at or over 90% probability to win that heat. Obviously, like Felipe Toledo needs no introduction here. Best small wave surfer in the world, but not anymore. Bested. And how close is he to the cut line?
Great question. I don't know. And there's 3 events left. So I think he's got time.
I know that if Griffin Colapinto doesn't sort himself out, Griffin Colapinto is well below the cut line at this point.
It's crazy, right?
I mean, he's just not, Griffin is not surfing well.
No, I disagree. Griffin's surfing incredibly well. He's like surfing the same level he was last year. It's just he's got some really tough heats or like I feel like he's even out surfing the other surfer in the heat. It's just the 2 waves that that other surfer got are better than Griff's 2 waves. But if you just look at him on the wave, like I think this he lost yesterday to Matt McGillivray.
Yeah.
I'm
Now
like,
on the last, on a buzzer beater, right? I didn't see
yeah,
the wave, but read it after.
Griffin is sharper, he's faster, he's more dynamic,
That's
but Matt got 2 better waves and just surfed those 2 waves better. That's it.
that's what I meant, I suppose, by surfing poorly is surfing competitively poorly. And
Yeah,
whether that's luck or whether that's choices he's making or whatever, but it's the ball has not rolled his way this year.
it's crazy. So Griff is sitting in the 25th spot. So he's below the cut line. The cut line is 22. You asked about Felipe Toledo. He's actually sitting 10th right now. So he's
Oh,
fine.
Philippe's fine. Dang.
Yeah.
Shoot.
But I thought that was a big upset to the Survival League. Thankfully, I went with one Leonardo Fioravanti, who I feel like is a a great pick. I mean, he has proven to be a great pick in this event, and I feel like he could win this event.
Leo Fioravanti is I feel in baseball terminology, he is like a dependable middle inning reliever. Like I
Mm,
feel at any event on the Survival League schedule, when it's time to put Leo in, you feel good. You know, he's not your first
totally.
choice. He's not your ace. He's not your banger, but dependable, workmanlike surfer.
And I will say this season, stepping up out of that thing that you're talking about and starting to shine. And I was happy to have him, and I felt confident with him going into this previous round against Ryan Callanan, especially since Ryan's coming off an injury. But Leo elevated beyond my expectations and fully delivered. And I thought Ethan Ewing's the only guy who looks stronger than him right now in this event. Leo could absolutely win this event. He's I think in sixth going into this event. I think he just got bumped into fifth by that one heat win. But if he wins this event, he'll be well positioned in the top 5. And I'm like, the guy is a threat at Cloudbreak. Like, could
Yeah.
we see a scenario where Leonardo Fioravante becomes our world champ this year?
Where would you place a Leonardo Fioravanti championship? Where do you place it on the Aki CJ Hobgood scale? Like, let's just assume he is a one-off champion. Would you place his championship as the most impressive in history?
No, I would not. The caveats are Gabe is off tour, John is off tour. There's kind of this is the year for him, somebody like him to actually do it. But and by the way, Griffin Colapinto's having a really surprising, bad year.
Shocker.
Yeah. So there are these open opportunities that just previously didn't exist. But to that point, or aside from all of that, I should say, his surfing does look on par with those guys right now.
Yeah. I mean, with those guys, with the guys on tour, with
Even
the B team.
I mean, even with the other guys, it'd be interesting to see how he stacks up. Again, just based on yesterday's surfing. Yesterday's surfing looked as strong, as polished, as dynamic, as everything as any world champs.
I was noticing yesterday as I was watching, uh, while the Punta Roca is a wave for you and I, right? It is
Hmm.
a intermediate wave. I was noticing that I feel the surfers are pushing harder because it is an intermediate wave. Therefore, I feel you could really see flaws in board design or the surfers who had their boards really dialed versus the ones who didn't. Like, I can't remember whose heat it was, but somebody was, you could just tell their fins weren't right.
Hmm,
They were sliding out or I don't know. It felt like the surfers who had their boards dialed did better.
interesting. Not to throw shade on one of the big fin brands, but in the opening round, did you see Sally Fitzgibbon's mishap?
No, I missed it.
So she's sponsored by FCS, if I'm not mistaken. I'm
Yeah.
almost certain. Um, she needed a score. It was down to the wire. She got the wave. She started surfing the wave really well. Bottom turned and then went for an open carve and ate it, just kind of like slid out uncharacteristically. And even the announcer's like, what happened? It was her board damage, whatever. She flips her board over and her FCS fin had popped out. You know those FCS twos that you don't
Yep.
screw in, you just pop in and
Yep.
out? The fin had popped out. And she's like pointing at it, like freaking out, like to let people know I'm not a kook. The fin was missing. That's why I ate it. And then didn't get the score and lost her heat.
That's why, dear listener, you choose futures.
I mean, that's why I choose futures. There was one dude, or I use futures boxes, I should say, but I use
Yeah.
NVS fins, um, which I have right here, by the way.
Which
Um,
I need to get my fin game going. My fin
I'll
game
hook you
is
up, dude.
woefully, I need fins.
Yeah, I've got a wide quiver of NVS fins with the
Okay.
futures tabs on them, so they just fit
Yep.
into futures boxes. But these things are guaranteed for life. So like if you nick them or whatever, they'll replace them, but they don't nick because they're made out of G10 laminate, which is like an aerospace industry thing.
Okay, so in your fin game, like I got my new board, right? Got my Shea Soma Mini Simmons, and I'm really liking it, but I realized I don't have the right fins. He told me what fins to get, and I said, I'm gonna just use what I have already. And then realized, wait a second, I am missing out on something here with my poor fin game. How much do fins and you're having different fins, a quiver of fins, knowing different fins, all of this kind of stuff? What percentage does it add to your surfing pleasure?
Um, I'm gonna go 30%.
That's a huge percentage.
And there's been times where the board works 0%, and then you're like hate the board, and then you swap out the fins, and the board then works 100%.
See, okay, I got to get my fin game going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to figure out entirely. I am
Yeah.
fin
You,
literate.
you just need a few sets. So NVS makes these C drive fins, which I don't have on me now, but they're basically the base is really, really wide, like a keel fin.
Yeah, that's what I
And
need.
and then it cuts away super drastically. So they call it C because the outline just looks like a C, but it cuts away so much fin and gets narrow and a lot of rake like a thruster fin would have. So the idea is the base provides all the drive where it connects to the board, tons of speed and drive, but a keel fin won't allow you to turn on a tight radius because it's just it's a big mass. And so when you cut away all that material, it allows maneuverability. So you get the drive plus the maneuverability. The problem is materials weren't sophisticated or weren't strong enough in the past. Like if it was just plywood, you would need a pretty thick plywood fin to for the cutaway. There's a
Yeah.
lot less material at the cutaway, and so that might snap off when you're driving with that much torque from the keel, and then you go into a turn, it could snap the fin in half if it was just plywood. But this G10 material is so strong, they can foil it really, really thin and cut away a lot of material. And even the thinnest part of the fin is still going to maintain strong strength. So that material kind of unlocked the C drive design. There was a guy doing the C drives back in the 80s or 90s, and they like never really took off because the material was just too thick. But now that they foil them tighter, they're really primo. So I've almost replaced all my fins just with I just rely on those C drives more than anything.
Is that well, could you use the C drives as a 20 setup?
Yeah. So in El Salvador, I had a pair of kind of upright twins on my main board, but only for one day. I surfed the board on one day and it just felt like it wasn't as maneuverable as I needed it to be. And so I swapped out to the C drives and then just stayed on those for the rest of the trip.
I gotta try them C drives.
I'll get them to send you a pair.
Okay, sweet.
Anyways, so back to the event. The other thing worth discussing is Kanoa Igarashi's priority blunder. Did you witness this?
I didn't witness it in person, but I read the exhaustive coverage on Stab magazine and thought, what a waste of time. Whoever they have down there is wasting his own time and wasting everybody else's time. And yesterday, or when I read it this morning, I guess he wasted my time.
Well, I did not read his, thankfully. I did not waste my time, but I watched this in real time. And it was Kanoa dominating the entire heat. Crosby needed a big score. And it was within 5 seconds left. Crosby gets up and riding. Kanoa's holding priority down the line. So he's going to burn Crosby to prevent him from getting a score. But in real time, when I watched this happening, I knew the rule.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And the rule is
no
Crosby,
priority.
Crosby stood up without priority before the heat ends. In that 5 seconds, the heat ends. Well, Kanoa, who had priority during the heat, got up and stood up to block Griff or Crosby, but after the heat ended. So the heat's over. Crosby got the wave with the heat over. Kanoa now doesn't have any right to the wave because the heat is over, but he still burned him, probably thinking or maybe not hearing the buzzer go off or something like that, but ultimately was deemed an interference. And despite having won the entire heat or led the entire heat up until it ended, he then got an interference post heat. Um, and this we've seen happen before. There was a famous incident at Lowers with Sebastian Zietz and Michel Perez implementing that or applying that over Sebastian and then losing. Um, I was watching in real time going, Kanoa, don't go, don't go, don't go.
Yeah.
How does Kanoa not know the rule at that point?
He didn't know the rule. I
Yeah.
think because there's no way he didn't hear the buzzer. So he clearly just didn't know the rule.
Well, it takes time for the buzzer, the sound waves to get
Not that
hit you
much
out in the
time.
line. Yeah, I mean, there can be a 2 second delay. That's enough.
I mean, I suppose so. I suppose if he was right on how close was he to the buzzer?
uh you could notice in the footage, like you didn't need to slow it down. It was like, bzzz, and then he stood up.
Okay.
So it was a
Uh,
1 second after the buzzer.
I read on the Stab a lot of like, this is a bad, we need to relook at this rule and change the rule. The rule is to blame. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a great rule. Like, you
Yeah.
should let somebody have a half court, heave shot at the end of the game. Like, taking away that rule completely takes away any possibility of suspense.
I agree. The rule is fine. Look, it's a 30-minute heat. You have 30 minutes to surf. After the 30 minutes, it's done. That's kind
Yeah,
of just that's a simple rule to follow. Kanoa's mistake in this was not only going, but also leaving that much space between him and Griff or Crosby. If he would have just been sitting immediately next to Crosby,
wouldn't
this wouldn't have
happen.
happened. He was
Yeah,
down the line 20 yards.
yeah. It
So
was a tactic blunder by Kanoa across the board.
from a guy who doesn't generally make those tactical errors.
Yeah. I
So
mean, El Salvador, man, the heat just got to him.
it's so sad to see like do everything right. And you, by the way, you travel around the world, you go to this place, you sit for 8 days waiting to surf, you do everything right, and then you lose on a technicality.
How hyped is Crosby Colapinto though? Because he is well below the cut line with his brother, and Crosby, unlike Griff, seemed like he was possibly going to be at the cut line during the cut.
Totally. And it looks like he may be winning this round of 16 heat now. There's 30 seconds left, and he's in the lead, waiting for scores to drop. So if he
Yeah,
makes
so
it into the quarterfinals, it's a big result.
I mean, yeah, Crosby, that'll kick him, I reckon, into the quarters, will kick him back above the line, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure where
So
he stands.
he's pretty
So,
low.
one other detail about El Salvador, quote, Surf Blog Stab Magazine castigated by fans for deleting comments critical of El Salvador's government, end quote.
What a silly, silly publication Stab has become.
What? So I did not read the article, but what happened here?
Oh, Stab on Instagram had shown about, or I think it was on Instagram, uh, had talked about the helicopter, right? Like, whoa, what happens when the president of El Salvador gives you this presidential helicopter and you go shred? It was like really glad, handy, and dumb to begin with. It was like real propaganda-y out of the gate. And then so the comments in Instagram were like, started basically with, is WSL paying you guys to do El Salvador propaganda? And then it kept kind of going. And then Stab started deleting any comments negative of the El Salvador government.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Weird.
So like classic
Why?
Stab of, because it's Stab, because they are dumb, because they want to be edgy and then they get scared, and or they want to be sports washy and be into the access journalism kind of thing, and then they get castigated and feel bad. So they, like, I feel Stab is perpetually on its back foot as a idea and an organization. I think the only when it was on its front foot was when Derek was at the helm, right? And you make something like, for example, the Kelly Slater comic, right? The Kelly Slater, as a, I think it was, can't remember what it was, but it was his dad leaving him or something like that. Uh, Kelly, and there was a comic, and Kelly got so pissed, and that he refused to talk to Stab forever, and Quicksilver, I think, pulled all their advertising and all that. And Derek just laughed, right? Like, it's just like, ha, this is what we do. They've lost that entirely. So there's no edge. There's only a memory of when it was edgy that they keep carrying through. And then, so it's just like, so they think they're cool. They think they're the edgy pub, but they're all just scared and perpetually on their back foot, reacting to the reactions of others.
It's interesting to watch from my perspective the dynamic of how people evolve in the space and then grow a certain amount of influence and money and revenue attached to it, and then start shifting their personality and persona to make sure that that money doesn't stream of money doesn't go away. Um, and I say that because we're in a similar situation, of like experiencing growth over time and having a certain amount of influence and having to figure out, I don't know, how to navigate that line. But I was watching the mainstream news this morning, and they had Barstool Sports founder Dave
Dave
Portnoy
Portnoy.
on, and he was apologizing, which was
Yeah.
already a headline. I was like, what? Why would he be apologizing about anything? His thing is to just rabble rouse, right?
Yeah.
And the story was about a woman, a young girl. She was in a sorority,
College girl. Yeah.
college girl. So you know this story?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So this college girl, somebody started a rumor that she slept with her boyfriend's dad. And I guess it got big enough to where Barstool Sports started reporting on it. It was just some of their anchors basically on one of their news platforms, because they have all these different tiers. And I think some of them are just like college sports focused or college, I don't even know what, like in a specific college has their own reporter. And so somebody at some point started reporting on it and making jokes about it and all that sort of stuff. And it got to the point to where now she's suing, and Portnoy's on the national news apologizing and going to have to. He's like, we have two options. We either got to, um, uh, what is when you settle out of court? What is
Yeah.
that called?
Just
Yeah,
settlement.
yeah. We're either going to do that. Mediation is what it was,
Oh, yeah.
or like go to court and fight this. And he's like, to be honest, I don't even know what our legal liability is here. I don't think there is one, but I mean, we're morally wrong for having spread this rumor. So we'll figure it out. We'll probably settle out of court. I'm like, what? This young girl, I mean, it's a total bummer. Like the rumor sucks. I'm sure her life was ruined momentarily. She got a bunch of text messages, about it, but it's just a rumor. Like nothing happened, nothing is true. These people on the internet are saying something. How is this now national news with this multi-million, probably $100 million company apologizing publicly for it?
I mean, Pat McAfee, the ESPN guy, is in there too, right? So he did
Yes,
it
yeah.
also, and and so he is all apologetic and sorry and trying to figure out. He said yesterday, I'm going to figure out a silver lining for this thing for her, right? So somehow this really pressed their buttons. They felt personally bad. Even if feeling personally bad is bad for business, it seemed like they felt so bad that they did this that they don't even care if it's bad for business.
I The crazy thing is, number one, that this is news. Number two is that Barstool, you guys made your bones by just spreading rumors and joking, having, irreverent commentary on random things like this. How do you not acknowledge that in this conversation?
Or why was this the one that jumped? That's what I don't
Well,
understand.
this
Is
one is the one that jumped because they now have taken on, you know, venture capital money
Yeah.
and grown to a point to where they have all these obligations to where they really now have to toe a line.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so. Like, and I guess relating it back to you and I, I'm trying to think if we would speak differently. Like, so it's this kind of stuff I always think about to begin with is for me, Filipe Toledo, fair game, right? Of whatever. Anybody who's public facing is fair game. Uh, and then who else have we gone after ish? I mean,
Kelly,
like,
Kelly.
yeah, but he's public facing. I'm trying to think of the people who are just, citizens. Like what was Plank Eye? What was his name? The Stink Eye? The dude who uh got sprayed by Dev, remember?
Oh, DJ Lunakai.
DJ Luna guy.
Stink eye. Man,
So
DJ Lunakai went off the rails politically. I don't know if you
yeah,
ever followed
totally,
him.
totally. But okay, so we didn't really put him on blast, but I'm trying to think if we've really stepped in it with somebody who is not a public figure, right? Did we? Because these guys are falling on their swords for quote amplifying a rumor, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Have we quote amplified a rumor that would have been damaging to somebody who wasn't public facing? Again,
Not that I can remember.
I'm sure we have.
Yeah, maybe we have. I just can't remember. I mean, the only ones I think of are like Sam George, Cole Houshmand.
Yeah, they all deserve,
So
whatever.
they're all public though.
Yeah, everybody's public, but I mean, DJ Stink Eye is the only one that I
But
or
so when I'm watching Dave Portnoy apologize, I'm realizing I'm like, it's strictly to protect the revenue at all times.
yeah,
And like when you were using low hanging fruit to point fun at, that was also to protect the revenue or
that was to make the
to
revenue.
grasp the revenue. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's I mean, I guess I'm becoming more and more cynical the more and more I learn and acknowledge.
Okay, so when Dave Portnoy and Pat McAfee and these guys who are they're not shock jocks per se, but like have a shock have a shock part of what their business model is, right? To be provocative is what they do. Do you think boo on you for him apologizing, or do you think that's the mature thing to do? You really did wreck a young woman's life for a period of time,
My
and it's good for you to take this one on the chin.
I think my point with all of this is that I don't believe him at all anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So
So
you
I
don't.
don't believe the apology is sincere. I don't believe that you ever really cared about those opinions of when you were making fun and acting like you were offended by whatever it was previously. I don't believe you were offended then. I don't believe that you're apologetic now. So
Okay.
it doesn't make me feel one way or the other. It's just I'm an all-knowing kind of like this is all just a facade for everybody.
Okay.
So the other thing that I felt though is watching that girl complain was, I mean, maybe this is rude to say, and I'm going to be on the wrong side of history for this one, but suck it up. Like, it was untrue. You just said it was untrue. So who gives a crap? You did not sleep with your boyfriend's dad. How could that possibly hurt you when
Yeah.
somebody sends you a text message about it?
I mean that it's the wild thing, which I suppose I have not been, aside from the Brazilian storm who got my Instagram canceled. I haven't been on the receiving end of a campaign like that. So I don't know how, maybe it is like so disturbing where you're just getting blown up. Where I don't know, I mean, people are weird, right? And so if there's enough people out there who like somehow took this on as their, you know what, I'm gonna go tell this girl what I think. Uh, I could see how it would be profoundly disturbing.
I don't know. Yeah, I agree. Like if I was just sitting here minding my own business and all of a sudden I had news cameras showing up in my house saying that I was a, something,
Yeah,
and
that
I'm
you had
getting
slept with Lauren's mom.
pick a different one. Can we pick pedophilia instead, please? No offense, but um, so I guess I can see like if all of my email was just bombarded, I could get no work done because it was just
Yeah.
flooded with all emails hating me for doing the wrong thing and all my DMs and I had to delete all. I could see the inconvenience there, of course. But also being really upset by it and then going on the news and kind of going on and on and on about it is also giving it more breath, giving
Yeah, I
breathing
mean,
life into it, I guess.
well, clearly, I mean, I think at that point, that's when the lawyers have gotten involved, right? And so they
Yeah,
get her and
that's
they get in a crisis management group and they're all just seeing money. Anything where you can literally, and by literally, I mean figuratively, look into somebody's eyes and see dollar signs. It's like, oh man, especially when they're making like a moral case, right? Like
yeah.
this so damaged my integrity and the things I believe in and hold dear while you're just like saucer eye money signs.
That's exactly what it is. Because even Portnoy said, I don't know what our legal limit liability is here, but we morally made a mistake, so I'll give her that, and we're going to settle out of court.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean,
just
no, the
that's
lawyers
the game you play.
and the lawyers saw it coming, like a lawyer saw it coming from a mile away. I'm sure a bunch of firms saw this coming. I'm sure half of her inbox was law firms around the
Yeah,
country mixed in with hateful people, was law firms saying, we would love to represent you.
yeah. Well, that so back to the stab thing with them deleting comments is they used to ride the wave of let the comments go nuts because that's just good for the algorithm. And now
Yeah.
they're on the flip side of that where it's like, we don't want to be called, I don't know what,
It's
patriotic or anti El Salvadorian. So
then
let's clean up the
I mean,
comment section.
stab is so dumb though that don't go to El Salvador then. Like, don't send somebody down there. Don't write glad handy articles that fully come off as propaganda. Have you read the any of those? I mean, I haven't
No.
read many of them, but they are so propaganda rich. Like, they're for sure they're obviously on Salvador's dime, which is fine, right? But just admit that from the get. Then just say the El Salvador government, as part of this, they love or whatever. They're trying to really promote surf tourism in the company or country. As part of this, they offered us full this, and this, and we took them up on it. So you're going to, I mean, it should be like this is a paid advertisement
Yeah.
kind of sticker on their post, but they don't treat it that way. They treat it legit. And so obviously you're going to get blown up. Like, how did you not see that coming?
Yeah. 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 Well, as part of their propaganda, or not propaganda, but part of El Salvador's push towards embracing surf tourism, last 2 years I flew out of El Salvador. Neither time did I get charged board bag fees,
Yeah. I
and I
mean,
was on two separate airlines.
that's the good on El Salvador, right? You want the surf dollar, you want to become the place for surfers to go. Great.
Yeah, totally. Well, moving on from El Salvador, in other surf news, uh, it appears as though Kelly Slater has revealed his child's name,
Is it Dow?
or Tao.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Is that what it is? Because Derek told me that that's what it was, and I just took it. I said, I guess Derek knows somehow. So it must be true, right?
I don't know. So Mitch, DJ Seaweed revealed this to me in El Salvador. It's like, did you see Kelly's new kid's name? And I guess it was on that post that Kelly did or Kalani did where they were surfing together. Somebody in the comments section revealed it.
Okay.
That's what he
Okay.
said. I saw Benji Weatherly in there say Gator's parents. I was like, wait a second. Did they name their kid Gator? That can't
That'd
be
be
right.
sweet. That'd be pretty sweet.
I think it might be a Florida reference. I don't
Yeah.
know. But so I didn't see it for myself, but Mitch said that somebody did say that. So who knows if it's true or not.
Okay. Okay. So and look at, we are going to be on the air uh next week apologizing, no, saying we made a moral mistake by outing this baby's name that we didn't know. And I don't know what our legal responsibility is, but morally we were wrong. So we'll probably settle with Kelly. But that aside, let's assume for sake of this conversation that it is TAW. I'm sorry, TAO.
Right.
Okay. How do you pronounce it? Because in really, it's supposed to be Dow. That's how you actually pronounce that word, is Dow. I can't imagine they're calling the kid Dow. I imagine they're calling him Tao. So, what a peak Kelly Slater thing to do is name your kid something that he's going to struggle with for the rest of his life, not struggle with the meaning or how it's spelled. He is going to be perpetually misreferenced.
So I think that there's multiple ways to pronounce this word. I just Googled it just to verify, and
I'm
there's a
telling you, it's
seven.
Dow.
Well, there's the Chinese word is Dao.
Yes.
but I think that there's the word uh, that is a word in different languages, and I
Are,
think it's
are you
pronounced with a T in different languages.
are you sure?
The Chinese character, hold on, the Chinese character, and it shows the character, is pronounced with a sound that is not quite an English T or D.
Yeah.
It's an unaspirated T sound, meaning there's no puff of air
Dao.
released
Yeah,
between, and you
unaspirated. So
pronounce it
that's what
similar
it
to
is.
the T.
It's Dao.
Yeah. The ow sound is like cow or down. So why Dao? The Dao spelling comes from the Hanyu pinyin system, which is a standard system for romanizing Chinese. The D in Dao represents the unaspirated T. So why would you call it Tao? The spelling of Tao is an older, more outdated spelling from the Wade Gillis system, which was used
The
when the
Shane
term
system. I
Tao
like it.
became a more well-known in the West. So the correct pronunciation of the tiny Chinese word is Dao, as in down, not Tao as in towel. Okay.
Yep. I mean, that's how it's pronounced. And everyone, 90%, or I don't know what percentage, that kid is going to move through life with a lot of people calling him Tao. And so not only did Kelly saddle his son with a name that he'll have to either correct pronunciation or maybe he pronounces it wrong himself, he's going to make everyone around him look a little bit foolish. Anybody who calls him Tao, the people who know that that's Dao will look around and think, oh, that guy's kind of illiterate.
Okay. Well, you are mistaken once again because the baby named itself. In case you forgot the initial premise, Kelly was not naming the baby because he wanted the baby to reveal its own name. And
Man,
that is
now
where we're at.
now I really have to apologize. I just shamed a 6-month-old's choice of moniker. That's a deep cut.
So, in Chinese philosophy, Tao is the principle underlying the universe, combining within itself the principles of yin and yang and signifying the way or code of behavior that is in harmony with the nature's order. The interpretation of Tao is Tao Te Ching, developed in the philosophical religion of Taoism.
Yep.
There you go,
Yep.
Kelly.
Way to do it. I mean, Kelly Slater should have, when it comes to surfing and I'm gonna say clothing. I really love that outer known, to be quite frank, to be quite honest between you and I and dear listener. Um, Aside from that, Kelly Slater, if he has an idea or an instinct, he should steer well clear of it. If it's like if he thinks, you know what, Dow, I'm liking it, I'm feeling it, then he should think, because I'm feeling it, it's wrong.
It's
Mike,
got a
you're Mike Slater.
ton, it's got a ton of meaning, like almost too much.
Yeah. And a ton of meaning uh related, like what if the kid ain't into Taoism or you like at all, and he's like, man, what is this? Why did you give me such a heavy name that everyone is mispronouncing all the time?
But he is. He identified the name on his own.
Yeah, that's
That's the
true. That's
point.
true.
Um,
Self-identified.
so another interesting note from the internet from these last couple of days is Channel Islands released their just a new video on YouTube. It's all at RenCon. But I was watching Bobby Martinez, just thinking, sharp as attack has not aged one bit. In a world where we get to see Joel Parkinson put on a little bit of a gut and still rip, but like age, and then Bruce Irons not being able to do anything anymore. It's like to see Bobby quietly
Ripping.
living his own life, never sticking his hand up for attention, and then his sponsor releases a video just to keep tabs on him, and he's the exact same Bobby he always was. It is a breath of fresh air.
I got to put that on Beach Grit. I meant to yesterday, busy day, but it'll be up so everyone can watch it.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's like Bobby Martinez. Should have known back in the day. I thought Bobby Martinez was like an angry flash in the pan kind of
Me
guy,
too.
right?
Yeah,
Where he
yeah.
had like his blow up, and then remember his FTW years?
How could I forget?
Yeah, FTW. I met with the founder of FTW. That guy was like weirdly cool. Something was oddly going on, and I can't remember what happened, but it might have been jail at some point. But in any
Mm.
case, uh, so then I thought, okay, Bobby's gonna go like full 909, FTW. And we're gonna, but then no, he didn't. I mean, he did that for a minute, and then he just went and lived a happy, quiet life where he's just ripping, making
He
great
he
surfboards. The
he
Bobby
picked a
Quad.
he, totally. He picked a lane. He's still been in that lane 10 years later. And just, I mean, from the mouth, his own mouth, F the tennis tour. I don't want to be involved with this anyways. He's still living that life. He's just
Yep.
like, I meant it then. I still mean it
I,
now,
I
but I'm going to
wasn't,
show up at Rincon and blow everybody away.
yeah, I wasn't just having a bad day and said it. And then next morning woke up and thought, oh, you know what? This is what pays the bills. And it's not so bad now that I think about it. I travel around and surf and we'll walk it back. Nope. Bobby don't walk nothing back.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Bobby Martinez is the anti-stab.
This is the, Mickey Dora DNA from surf years past that's still infused that we still love to embrace.
It's like the Mickey Dora DNA minus the Mickey Dora like shifty
Yeah.
stealing from his friends, being a all-around bad dude kind of thing.
Well, yeah, there's that. Sorry. Maybe not a perfect analogy.
Yeah, but
Uh,
he is like in his own way, Bobby's like a surfing outlaw, right? Or he's out of surfing's law in a or I guess mainstream surf, kind of surf industry law.
tethered to the industry and also uninfluenced by the money and all that comes with, playing the game.
Well, and I absolutely love like complete cap tip to Channel Islands for embracing Bobby being Bobby, right?
Yeah.
Like not saying, okay, cool, Bobby, but let's, this, that, or the other thing. It seems like Bobby is Bobby, that Bobby quad, phenomenal board, and great treat. Edit.
And what ends up happening with some quote outlaws in any space is there's missteps along the way and something is revealed about them that just flies in the face of, I don't know, modern society. But Bobby has never misstepped. You've never seen
No,
Bobby post an Andrew Tate photo. You
nope.
see it, all you do is hear about him being a good dad.
Yeah.
It's like, so out living by his own laws and righteously.
Best life.
Final surf news note, wild scenes at Burleigh Heads as alleged surfboard bandito leads police on a 2-hour chase. This is our new WSL venue this year. Snapper. This is the real story. Snapper will not run. They've instead moved the contest down to Burleigh Heads. And the headline I just wrote or read to you was on Beach Grit about some surfboard thief at Burleigh.
Sure was, sure was. I did not read the story. Haven't had time yet to read that story. But yeah, did you care at all? The snapper to Burley move. Uh did it move your needle?
Yeah. So I applaud the WSL for making a quick change with limited time. And this proves that it's doable. Like we kind of talk about how the tour needs to be smaller and more mobile and more ability to adjust based on what swells are doing or just conditions are doing. And this was a move where it was smart. It was like there's no waves at Snapper. The sand is all gone. Let's acknowledge that. Let's make an adjustment. And they did. Now, unfortunately, I've got notes that Burley is also not in its peak condition, but at least it'll
Better.
be surfable. It might be 2 to 3 foot beach break kind of style waves, but at least it'll be surfable.
I mean, I feel this move was made for them. I mean, obviously, it's the right thing to do. If there's no waves, if it's something is absolutely unsurfable, obviously, why are you going to paddle people out there? But it feels like because of the Gold Coast and Australia in general, surf loving, blah blah blah. Where if you just go to countries like that, I mean, El Salvador too, for that, they're just at the wrong place, it seems. But or I don't know, El Salvador, maybe just all intermediate. Is all El Salvador just intermediate?
No, I'm sure there's world class waves.
Okay, but
But like where we were surfing Punta Mango, I've seen when it's double overhead, it looks legit.
okay.
We
So
just didn't catch it.
in any case, though, with Australia, right, you're with the government there, and Australia wants itself to look good, surf wise. And so I don't know why all of these things aren't mobile, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be Gold Coast slash Queensland. We're going to see what's working the best. They do it kind of in Margaret River, but they never uh,
Activate.
usually actually leave Margaret River, but they have the potential to go down to whatever, right? To
Yeah.
gas, whatever it's called. What's it called?
The
Uh,
box or North Point.
North Point. And then, yeah, but I mean, around Bells, I guess that's the problem is most of these venues are just a wave. Like, I guess Bells, you go to Winky and they do
Yeah.
that. But yeah,
Well, I did want to at least acknowledge the story about the surfboard bandito. So the story is that somebody stole a surfboard on the beach and then paddled it out, and then the authorities brought boats out to actually capture the guy. And he was fleeing for 2 hours basically before they captured him. But my thought on it was just like when I was a kid, theft didn't seem like that big of a deal to me. I
Y-
think like kids would try and steal things just to push the boundaries, you know? Um, or you'd be in a liquor store and a friend would like steal a candy bar and you're like, what? Oh my God, crazy, you know? I just didn't really think it was that big of a deal. As I've gotten older, it really bothers me more than it ever did before. Like, even if it's a small dollar item or a surfboard, whatever, kind of inconsequential, it's still like, I work so freaking hard all the time and I depend on the things that I have in my life for my creature comforts. If you take it from me, that says so much. It's not just the dollar amount or the inconvenience, it says so much about you. It's kind of the ultimate indicator of you're a grown adult in a society who thinks this is okay. That means you're up to other stuff too.
I mean, the have you ever had your house broken into?
No.
You see, so I've had house broken into, uh, and there was a lot of stuff stolen. Uh, but more than missing the material items, what you feel is like a profound sense of violation.
Yeah.
You feel deeply violated. Where that's what I feel about theft in general now. It is a violation of, and a symptom of like, unless you're like cracked out and or so poor that you can't even eat, and so you're stealing bread. If you have means or any, if you're on the scale of economically normal and you're stealing stuff from others, from other people, it just shows a real, I think, narcissistic sense of you, an inability to feel what somebody else feels.
I think you need to be eradicated from society.
You're
Like,
locking up petty thieves, is what I hear you say.
I kind of feel that way. Again, with certain qualifiers, like you are a grown adult at this point, let's say 25 and over. I know brains aren't fully developed until that age. So maybe you make some mistakes in your youth just trying to feel out where your space is. But 25 and over, you need to be a contributing member of society. Like our society is a little bit vulnerable, but the reason it can exist is because we all agree on these mutual rules, right? Decorum. And so once you decide to kind of break that down, I the evidence is in. If you're going to operate outside of those rules, it's a threat to everybody.
Do you feel the same way about those who say steal from Home Depot, who go and pretend to slide their hammer
I
and don't
do.
actually slide it?
I think in certain ways that's even worse.
Really?
Like, well, I don't know, maybe not worse, but
I don't like, I mean, not that I do steal from companies or stores or whatever. Like, I am not a stealer. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. But like, I think who cares, Home Depot? Screw you. You already have you're raping and pillaging yourself. I mean, I don't know, Home Depot. Sorry about that. You're not actually, or maybe you are, but like, everybody's going and squeezing the little man as much as they can to make money, any corporation, something. Yeah, if I see somebody walking out of the store with something, I'm like, oh, well,
I guess the way that I feel about that is related to what I just said about we're living in this society where I would like for the bottom kind of tier of our expectations to be raised over the course of my lifetime to where we can all just be polite and
yeah,
not have to be on guard all the time. And so, in that scenario at the Home Depot, it's like I would love to live in a place where we can do self checkout and where I
yeah,
don't have to wait in a giant line every time I want to check out, and the shaving cream or razors aren't behind lock and key. Like
yeah,
I want to just live in a space where we can all be trusted to do the right thing. And you just trying to get away with this $20 hammer that you can afford means we're going to have to regress down to a lower rung.
yeah. It's
That's what I
true.
don't like about it. And
You're,
I mean, you remember COVID where it was like there was a Patagonia store in Santa Monica, I believe. and things were kind of haywire during COVID. And there was some random middle class white dude who was like stealing surfboards. And then the internet figured out who he was and he apologized and then brought him back. It was like, that was a scenario where it's like, bro, you don't even need the boards. You're
Yeah.
only doing this because you now have the opportunity to get away with it.
Yeah. Not
And
cool, man.
that's an indicator that it's kind of like you're only doing it for society's morality, not based on your own sense of right and wrong. So I don't know.
I agree with you. I agree with you that it's all bad. Like we shouldn't steal.
Yeah, I agree. I'm
Look
annoyed.
at that. Look at us. Look at us coming on the right side of history here.
I'm annoyed. I'm like surfing in regard to the beach grit story. Surfing is this kind of sanctuary. It's fun. It should be therapeutic. It's where we go to blow off steam. Why are you stealing in that scenario? Why are you
Yeah.
stealing somebody's surfboard right now? Like, no, absolutely not.
Do you remember back in the day, and maybe this was just happened to me some, where people would, you'd be on the beach as a kid, I remember, and people would come and ask to use my surfboard, or I would feel also sometimes I'd go ask somebody to use their surfboard on the beach. Hey, can I paddle out real quick? It's like, oh yeah, cool. Did that ever happen to you?
No, I lived in a much too populated area.
Yeah, this must have been, I mean, it wasn't happening in Oregon because nobody was surfing, but I remember like in Santa Cruz or something, just like maybe it was with boogie boards and stuff. That's probably what it was, more boogie boards of like you just see a kid who's making a sandcastle with his boogie next to him. Hey, can I take your boogie board out?
I mean, I've had this happen on the playground with Austin,
Yeah,
where there's a playground nearby that has a big sand pit. And so I went and bought cheap sand toys to bring just for that park. And, little kids don't want to share. So Austin's like, little kids walk over and they start playing with his toys. And he would give up or he'd put up resistance that he didn't want to share. So that's why I explained to him, I'm like, we bought these ones specifically to be community sand toys, basically, you know?
yeah.
And
Did
so
he get
don't,
it?
yeah, he did. Totally. This was a long time ago. I mean, he's 3.5 now. This was probably like before he turned 2.
Okay.
But it was specifically like those kids, the default state when you're a child is to just go play with the toy. So let him play with the toy. We don't need to create these parameters for him at age 2. Let the kid just have fun and play with the toy. But we don't want to lose our toys. So let's bring these community toys where everybody can just play. And if we can walk home with all of them and bring them back tomorrow, we will. But if we lose one or two or somebody steals it, we're not going to hold them accountable either.
We should have community surfboards out there on the beach.
Totally.
Stop the problem. Stop
There you
the
go.
Burleigh Heads surfboard thief.
Solved it.
Yeah,
Uh, you want to do a little dalliance with Kook and Curren?
sure do.
All right, Chaz and David wanted to chime in on the non-alcoholic beer talk. I've got one more suggestion for you because I've tried every one in the market, but I found the best. Klausthaler.
I've
C
had Klausthaler.
okay, Clausthaler. When I say it's the best, I mean that it can almost fool you into thinking that you're drinking a real lager. Um, and it's also cheap. 6 pack at Trader Joe's is only $7. So there you go for anybody looking for NA beer. But also, I have a Kook and Curren for you. Going straight on a wave. I've watched Dave Rostovich do it, Tom Curren, Rob Machado, Kelly, the list goes on. The aforementioned have the ability to drop in and go straight towards the beach, way out into the flats. And then after drawing an insane bottom turn, back up into the lip with speed and power that only intermediates can only dream of. And then, of course, everyone has seen beginners at the surf school going straight on their foamies. It's their only option. Intermediates, by contrast, never put their nose towards the beach. They aim for the flats and race to be safe and then do a boggy cutback on a soft shoulder. Would love to hear your thoughts. Keep on working.
Read this, thought about it, and I'm stamping my approval upon it as a Kook and Curren because I was trying to really think about intermediates doing ever going down to the beach and watching intermediates in the pack, anyone doing a proper cutback, like way out. Like I know what he's talking about. We're not just talking pointing your nose at the beach for a second. We're talking about getting out into the flats before you keel it back around. You don't see it. You do not see an intermediate ever do that.
I agree. I think it's pretty foolproof.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to even think of like intermediates like that surf well, like, Chris Cote, for example, or I don't know, Scott Bass. I've never seen any of those guys do that either on any
No.
of their clips.
Well, the funny thing is, my only caveat was like, okay, what if I'm going to go in? I'll catch a wave and go in, and I'll stand on the whitewash going straight, only for a second before I lay down, because it's hard to ride on whitewash going straight unless you're on a soft top or a longboard. But if you're just like riding the whitewash and it's kind of coming in, you know, boosts of energy and then it slows down and then another boost of energy, I lay down almost instantly to ride the rest of that wave in.
100%. But also I think that's a different thing because that's not actually surfing at the end. That is going in, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
true.
so if you're going to paddle back out, if you're going to go straight and then paddle back out, you're either a kook or you're a current.
I agree. This
Yeah,
works.
it works.
Cemented.
Yep, it's a good one. It's a solid one too because it's something that I would have never thought about
Me neither.
had listener not thought about it.
Yeah, well done. Going straight on a wave. Kook and Currens do it.
Yep.
Okay. VayerWatches.com/surf splendor for 15% off your beautiful timepiece. Chaz
Look at
is
how good
there.
this one
Mine is
looks.
here.
Yeah, it's pretty,
Really beautiful.
pretty.
So these provide us with a tool that we can operate our life by. And so we are offering you tools to live by Vayer. Hey, Chaz and David, we need help, period. Seriously, period. We're two guys who have spent years dialing in a handful of waves around our quote walking distance from our local spot. It's not like we discovered Pipeline or Uluwatu, but if you catch the right one, you'll get a decent ride. Meaning these waves, are just around the corner from a known and much surfed spot and highly visible from the road, but they really haven't been surfed much because the spots aren't easy. There's lots of current, big rocks, and it's close to shore. Tricky conditions and consequences have traditionally made these waves intimidating. But we've put in time, effort, broken boards, minor injuries, buckets of sweat, and respect to figure these waves out. We are finally starting to reap the rewards. Now, though, tourists, kooks, and cones are following us straight to these waves. From seeing the waves and thinking they look difficult to seeing us go out there flips their decision from a no to a go. They see us navigate the keyhole that took us years to figure out. They see where we position ourselves on the peaks, and then they follow. Before we knew it, we're getting snaked. People in the way, drop ins, Germans, GoPros. What the F? Zero effort, zero respect. And honestly, it's making me angry. Like, really. If they wipe out, I don't feel bad. I hope they break their board. If they get in trouble, I don't feel responsible. I hope they will injure themselves. What devilry is this? I'm just 32. I should be at the peak of my surfing, super stoked. I am a nice guy who thrives in good vibes and stoke. Now I'm getting angry just by the side of a car with surfboards on the roof. I understand localism now in a way and I never did before. So what do I do? How do we keep surfing out here without becoming bitter old locals decades ahead of schedule? I am frightened because at this rate, I am waxing up windshields next week. Please help keep work. LJ and TR from up north.
LJ and TR.
I'm
I
sorry,
have
HT. LJ and HT from up north.
LJ and HT. I got some bad news for you, but a tool to live by. There is no beating it. This is what makes surfing uh both the greatest thing and the worst thing in your life because surfing will take you down a path that you don't want to go down. You will be clawing not to become that person. You cannot, the only way to not care is to not care. You care. Therefore, you're stuck. You are stuck in a angry cycle. The only thing advice I can offer here is really lean into it and embrace it in the water. Just don't keep it bottled up. Shout at them. Shout at the kooks. Like, give them hell. Give them local hell. Don't, once you go to the beach and start doing stuff there, that's going to get you in trouble, especially in this day and age, right? Like a waxed windshield, even a dirty look at somebody, all of a sudden you're going to get slapped with a lawsuit. But out in the water, scream your lungs out at these guys.
I guess so. That works.
I mean, because your options here are don't surf that wave anymore. Go back to the known ones because it hurts too much, right? That's option A. Option B is to become friendly lineup guy, welcoming everybody. That's not going to
Yeah,
work.
I
Uh,
don't I I don't think those are the only two options. And I think firstly, there was an error in their plan from the get-go. Like
but
I hate to tell them, the fact that this wave is visible from the well-known spots and the parameters that you put in that you thought were barriers of entry that you guys kind of overcame were not really barriers of entry.
apparently,
And it would
I
have
suppose.
and it took you guys years, hate to tell you, might have taken a pro one session to figure that one out, you know?
Okay, so
So
you're saying don't be as proprietary about this wave.
this one is not worth losing anything important over.
I mean, I suppose the fact that you can see it,
Yeah.
uh, that means it's not a secret. Okay, I'm with you then. I am with you that if you can see something, you made something a local treasure, your own treasure that actually wasn't. Sorry about it.
You should have been aware from the get-go that every investment you made in this could absolutely get taken off the table because everybody can see you doing it right there. And
It
if you thought that like navigating a keyhole was a, a bridge too far for Joe Schmo to figure out, that was a mistake on your part.
So here we go, though. Another bit of advice. If you liked the feeling, because they clearly enjoyed this feeling of discovery, right?
Yeah.
Then apply that to actually discovering a wave. And especially if you're a cold water surfer, if you're up north, stinking go to British Columbia or something, right? Like go on an actual take the feelings that you have and go apply them to an actual secret wave. Go
That's what I
find
was
something.
that's what I was thinking is this seems to be like a first lesson of finding out you just don't like surfing around people, you don't like the crowds and but this is a great thing to know and you
But
can
you also
go,
like you like the feeling of discovery. You like
yeah,
dialing something in, right?
yeah.
You like to not follow the crowd, but learn yourself. So those are all good lessons from this experience. This was like school.
Yeah.
So go out into the world and find actual secret waves.
Yeah, go get out of town. And but the other thing, once you are in the lineup at this spot, and you were saying you can yell at people or go back and surf the other spot, I've decided on the middle of the road thing, which is you have more experience out there. Just start passive aggressively bullying people around.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
that was my strategy in El Salvador was like, okay, do I want to sit up and be like a regular all these kooks in the lineup? Like it was hectic. Like it was unbelievable how little etiquette people are operating under. So
Yeah.
do I take the role of being the enforcer and start saying,
Yeah,
you
no,
guys
you
get
don't
off
want
the
that.
peak, you guys shouldn't, you shouldn't be here, go back to the beach break. Literally, that was the instance a lot of times. Just like there's
Yeah.
half the lineup out here isn't qualified to surf a point break. Go surf the
Yeah.
beach break. But what I can do because I do know better and I do have the information, is start using all of that against them. Like those three guys are never going to catch a wave. Okay, so I'm going to go sit fourth in line because now that there's four or five of us in this little grouping, any intermediate surfer isn't going to take up space here. They're going to go sit away from us. But I know these four guys aren't going to catch a wave. So I can sit right next to them and just have priority and go anytime I want. Little strategies like that. Or if they feel like they do want to play a little bit of a battle, good. Push them out of position, push them too far close to the rock, make them make a bad decision. Like you can really use all of these things to your own advantage in this scenario.
Smart. It's
Yeah,
like jujitsu.
exactly. Yeah, it is. Okay, I'm rushing through segments because I know you got 20 minutes left, but
I do.
we've got remember we had some celebrity lookalikes conversation, Walton Goggins
Yep.
and what's his name?
Nathan Fletcher.
Nathan Fletcher. Thank you. Um, what about this one right here? Can you see my screen?
Oh, this is really good. This is
Mason Ho
great.
and Colin Farrell.
Mason Ho and Colin Farrell. That is who did you come up with this one?
No, somebody submitted it and I forget who. I apologize.
Brilliant, brilliant, well done. Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
doppelgangers.
Doppelgangers.
Would
I've
have
got
would have never picked it either.
it was sitting right in front of me forever. Never noticed it.
Would have never. I could have seen them walk by holding
Okay.
hands, and it still wouldn't have struck me.
Me neither. Here's another one. Ross Williams and a guy whose name you probably don't know, but you've seen him before.
Yeah, this is a good one too. This is a great one. Man,
Alan, his name's Alan Tudyk, I think. TYD. I'll have to look it
he,
up.
I've seen so many movies with that dude in them and
Yeah,
enjoyed him in those movies as well. And I've
Alan,
never once been curious about any part of his life.
me neither. Isn't it weird how actors are that way? You've
Yeah.
watched 20 films, you admire their work, never even looked up their name once.
Yep. Have no nothing about him.
Yeah, so Alan Tudyk, I think is his name, Tudyk, if you want to
Yeah.
look him up.
This one is also a real winner.
Yeah, so you might know him from A Knight's Tale, Dodgeball. That's right, he was Dodgeball. That's where I would have seen him
Yeah.
originally.
But Knight's Tale, I really remember him in Knight's Tale too.
He was in the Moana films, but those are obviously animated. But he's been in a ton of stuff anyways. So
It's a
yeah.
good one.
Okay, good. We got a couple new ones then.
Man, I like it. I like
Um,
this new archive being built.
I know me too.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of Walton Goggins, I did finally finish White Lotus.
Were you was I right in thinking, yeah, it's fine?
It's totally fine. Yeah. Was
What
there
is it?
pushback on the internet?
I think people thought it was shocking. I read headlines that said shocking ending, and I was like, well, yeah, no. Like that's what White Lotus is, and uh it didn't it the ending to me didn't seem, I will say, as good as the entire season.
So I agree with you. And my thought was I was always surprised at the ending of season one and season two. It They created six storylines where there could be six different killers and they were all equally um
Plausible.
plausible, right? And then the one that they ended up being surprised me. Like
Yeah.
the dynamic or the reason that it ended up happening was not anticipated. This one I feel like was more of a straight line. It was like the person I thought was the most logical from the beginning ended up doing the logical thing in the end. And maybe that was the curveball that Mike White was coming up with, which is let's just play it straight down the middle.
Yeah.
The
Which
opposite
was
of a curveball, actually.
yeah, fastball, pump down the middle. Which was fine, totally fine. And I don't need the surprises, right? The sixth sense, he's dead. Bruce Willis is dead. Like, I don't need that in my life, all the time. Like I feel, and I do feel that when either shows or films totally hinge I mean, I think that's why M. Night Shyamalan or whatever his name is, lost, like all of his movies suck awful, right?
They're
Except for
terrible now.
they're like not just bad films, they are the worst film that you have ever seen in your life, right?
For
Everyone
10
except
years
for this,
straight.
yeah, every film except for The Sixth Sense is he suckers me in. I think I used to get early days, I would get suckered in to go to the theater. And then I got suckered into watching it on HBO or whatever. And now I only get suckered into an M. Night Shyamalan if I am on an airplane. And even on an airplane, I'll watch it, I'll finish it, and I'll say, that sucked. That whole movie, it was awful, poorly acted, horribly written, bad concept. But that's the problem with him, right? Is he sixth sensed it up, had everybody saying, whoa, blew, mind blown. And so then he thought he had to blow minds the rest of his, and all he does is just blow.
So the latest one is with Josh Hartnett in a stadium. Have you seen this one?
No, but I will on an airplane.
I think it's called The Trap. And it's him and his daughter. His daughter talks him into going to see this pop star at a stadium. And so the whole thing is basically set in a stadium where um, the police are setting up a sting operation because they know that this serial killer is going to be there. And then you find out, well, they imply that he is the serial killer. I won't say what you find out or not, but
Who just say it? Who cares?
um, the crazy thing is the whole thing is just a commercial for M Night Shyamalan's daughter. His daughter
Oh,
is the pop star. So his daughter in real life, like, is an aspiring singer. So he
oh
wrote a
no,
movie to where
for her.
she's a pop star on stage, and the entire thing is focused on her.
Wreck this movie real quick, just so none of our listeners will ever go watch it. And we'll at least take some views away from him.
Yes,
Who's the killer?
Hartnett is the serial killer. So they imply that from the beginning, and he is in the end. But that's what pissed me off about it too, is because a Shyamalan movie should be a twist. And
Yeah.
I was even like pitching twists to Lauren at the beginning. I'm like, okay, there's no way that he's the actual killer. What it's going to be is X, Y, and Z. And I had some like elaborate scenario that was going to play out. Nope. He's
Yeah.
exactly who they thought he was all along, and it's just a straight down the middle chasing the serial killer movie. Except it's a
Dumb.
commercial for Shyamalan.
But with back to White Lotus though, I give this season as a whole, I'll give a B plus. Uh, the final episode, I'll give a B minus.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, was
That
like good.
yeah, that's fine. And the other thought I had on it was the final episode is a movie in and of itself. The final
Yeah,
episode is 90 minutes long and it has a beginning, middle, and end. You don't even need to watch the rest of the season. It's an entire film.
I wonder if is it so baked in the concept that everyone has to be a murder? Like is
Yes.
like that's just the conceit of the entire, it has to start with somebody's dead and then the whole thing. Because I wonder
Yes.
how, I mean, I guess that's always perpetually enjoyable. It's a classic whodunit
Yeah.
genre.
Yeah, yeah. It's tried and true. So they're
Yeah.
just applying the old. Okay, we need to go to commercial break. We'll come back with a really robust barrel or not. All right, Chaz, welcome back.
Great to be.
Hey, dude, tons of commentary and controversy about splitting the check. Man, oh
Ooh.
man, on all sides of the scale. I'm gonna play one for you though. One call. Excuse me.
DOS and Chaz, this is for the grit. It's Gizmo in Paris calling. Really enjoyed the tools to live by segment on splitting the check. Credit card roulette is also a great way to handle the bill with friends and family of a similar economic bracket. Gather all the cards and have the server blindly pick the unlucky victim. It's fair, it's fun, and if you're continuing the night afterwards, just make sure the loser doesn't pay for any drinks. Keep work, boys. Cheers.
There you go.
Great call. A lot of fun. This is perfect because it gamifies dinner as well,
Yeah.
where at the end you feel like, yes, if your card isn't picked, you also feel like, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles when it does get picked.
Yeah. And so while I'm not going to play all the commentary that I got, and it was far ranging, and it was some people just like, hey, separate checks solves everything. Don't worry about it. Stick to your own. And then another friend wrote in this beautifully written story of being in New York City, meeting a new couple, um, having a great time together. He sneaks off to the bathroom, hands the waitress the credit card while he's at the bathroom, like, hey, I'll take care of this. And then comes back to the table. And 20 minutes later, the other male goes to the restroom and
Yeah.
attempts to do the same thing. And he realizes that guy's card is metallic,
Oh,
which means
yeah.
that dude's balling harder than you are. And convinces the waitress, who probably recognized the socioeconomic difference, she takes his card instead. And then that male turns back, looks at the first male, and flips him off.
Yes.
Just like as a little note of like, that's the world I want to live in, which is
Yeah.
instead of us trying to decide who doesn't pay or who can pay an equal amount, let's transition over to just like
Who can be generous?
let's transition to generosity
Love
and then
it.
flip the other person off because
Love
you're
it.
more generous.
Yep.
But the main kind of theme that I got through all of it was less stress. For the people who are saying, I want a separate check, they're just trying to reduce stress. For the people who are picking up the whole tab, they're trying to reduce stress for the group. So everybody wants the same thing here.
Okay. I like it.
Okay. All right. One more call before we get into barrel or not, because it'll seamlessly transition us. Here we go.
Hey, DLS Chaz, Ryan from Pensacola, Florida again. This episode just got me fired up. You guys caught me in a mood. Speaking of Tom Carroll and the Chick-fil-A losing all that weight, dude, somebody's got to check his hard drive. He's getting into Jared Fogle territory here. And I mean, I don't mean to point fingers, but there's something unsettling about the type of person that can go to fast food every day. There's something off there. I mean, look at the dude who's had like 180,000 Big Macs. You do not want to know what's on that guy's computer. Same with Tom Carroll. I think we're about to hear some dark news about one of our heroes. Work, Ryan.
So to be clear, it was a different Tom Carroll. It wasn't our Tom Carroll in that news story. But barrel or not, eating the same thing every day.
I'm gonna say absolutely no barrel. It's funny. I did read something that there is scientific some benefit to that. I think the science always will swing, right? But there is, I didn't read any of it. I read the headline that said eating the same thing every day, there's it can be good for you. Um, no, like out variety is as terms of food as the spice of life, right? I mean, eating is fun, eating is good. I guess if you hated eating, then great, eat the same thing, just tick the box. But if you enjoy eating, why would you do that?
I mean, I'm telling you, I was on your side my entire life up until 3 weeks ago, I'd say.
What have you fallen into?
Um, so I like variety, but I also recognize you get a lot of you swing and you miss a lot with
Yeah.
variety and with trying new things all the time. And so if you can find something that you love and it's nutritious and it's sustaining, stick with it. And so what I've learned is dinner is always trying something new or, variety. Breakfast and lunch, I'm in work mode and I don't have time to spend extra brain power deciding what to do. So breakfast is the same every day and lunch is very, very consistent. And I applied this in El Salvador and last year in El Salvador too, because the place we're staying, there's plenty of menu options, but you learn which ones you like. I would eat ceviche every day for lunch, ceviche and a bowl of fruit. And it's like if you're surfing all day and you're dehydrated, you're in the sun all day, you need sustenance. Ceviche is pure fuel and it's not heavy. You can eat the whole thing and you can go surfing immediately after. And the fruit is great for hydration. So that I loved it. I mean, 1 week you're not going to get sick of something, but I could do it every day at home too.
Have you ever been to Tahiti?
No.
You will be forced and or will eat poisson cru like every single lunch. And you will go through this is really tasty to, I can't have another bite of this to, yeah, that's okay. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Again,
okay. So, yeah, I mean, for lunch, I don't know, yeah, for your daily driver kind of thing, I fully see, yeah, fall into a rhythm, get your nutrition. The whole point is to fuel the body. It's not just to have perpetual mouth pleasure. So, so just get the job done.
I agree. Get the job done. And then um if it's healthy too. That's the other thing is like that ceviche I realized it had cucumber, it had fruit and vegetables in it, plus fish protein, which is lean and good. And it had like a certain pickled vinegar aspect to it that I know is good for you. So
See, the problem is with this
superfood.
though, it is good. The problem is when you do this every day and then, over the science wire comes out that the fish you were eating was just filled with lead.
Yeah, I can't advise how to avoid that sort of thing, but
Yeah, you just got to be wary.
yeah, exactly. Okay. Barrel or not, number two, dodging the barrel. Hear me out. I'm watching this El Salvador comp. There's sections that are barreling down the line that they're just bottom turning around and going to do a big hack. And I had the epiphany like I would be hunting that barrel my entire trip because I'm an intermediate surfer. So my epiphany was the better the surfer, the more barrels they dodge. Like it's almost a Kook and Curren thing, except there are intermediates who dodge the barrel as well. But Kooks dodge the barrel because they're afraid to pull in. These guys are dodging the barrel because they're waiting for pipe and chopu to get barreled. Like those are proper barrels for them. This doesn't even register as a barrel to them, even though to me it would be the best barrel of my life, offshore point break, right? So I'm realizing dodging the better the surfer, the more barrel dodges actually.
The problem, yeah, and I think you're totally right. And this is a WSL problem, though, right? The WSL should not be sending them to. I mean, I take that back. That's unfair. Like the barrel of the El Salvador wave doesn't score, right? It does.
Right.
It's not going to give them the score. They're going to get a bigger score, going to do a bigger hack.
Yeah.
I wonder if left to their own devices, though, do you think they would be pulling in?
No, I don't.
You think they'd be
Because
out there bashing the lip anyway? If they weren't surfing to the quote criteria, you
yeah,
still think they'd be? I
there's
bet
no
they'd be
gratification.
I bet they'd be slipping in and then doing some other stuff.
I mean, on the section that I'm talking about, where it's like the main portion of the wave and it's barreling right next to them as they're bottom turning.
Yes.
I think their thing is, in the course of my life, this barrel is a 1 or a 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to Tahiti next week. I just got back from Pipeline where I got these gapers. Like out here, I would rather do work on my frontside hack.
Yeah.
So dodging the barrel is barrel in this scenario.
It is. Dodging the barrel is barrel. And I also think, I mean, another dodged barrel was Jerry Lopez at Surf Ranch. Remember when he
Right.
just highlined and stroked it? Like,
He just tickled the lip as it was
yeah,
barreling.
exactly. Like, that's a barrel. Like, if you're good enough to barrel great waves, don't barrel crappy waves.
Yeah.
Barrel dodging is barrel.
Barrel dodging is barrel. Now I'm realizing I want to go back to last week, and any wave that I tried to like tuck in and, not even get a shampoo, just get a little pocket ride, total wasted section.
Yeah.
Should have been bottom turning and cracking the lip.
Okay, so this is what I felt at when I was at Surf Ranch last, though, is everybody, they're talking up the barrel. Okay, we're gonna do, and I'm like, I don't need this barrel. I'm gonna go. I want to work out on the whatever, I cooked whatever I was trying to do anyway, but I didn't want the barrel. I was like, the artificial barrel I know is coming is not satisfying to me.
Yeah.
I want to go, if I could learn how to do a bigger front side hack, which I was not doing well at all, but at least I was trying to do that, not trying to get barreled at a fake barrel.
Dodging a barrel is barrel.
Yep. Boom.
All right. Final barrel or not. Recreational helicopter rides. And this is coming off of the El Salvador helicopter, but also yesterday, tragic news in the Hudson. A tourist helicopter, NewYorkHelicopterRides.com. A Spanish family rented a helicopter to see some of the city, and the thing had a catastrophic failure. The propellers somehow broke. The thing plummeted to the Hudson. All 6 people died, including 3 kids. And I'm like, man, that's going to be bad for business.
Yeah. I mean, for those who don't know, helicopters are gnarly, right? Helicopters are not super safe. And so to do helicopter rides just for fun, like the El Salvador one, obviously they were going surfing, all kinds of heli bumps up in for snow and all that. But the wife these days, though, she's like, man, I've like dodged so many bullets and I don't know how many more I want to dodge.
So I've never been in a helicopter, and I wasn't opposed to it. I just never had the opportunity. But now I'm feeling like I won't do a helicopter, especially like just recreationally for no real reason.
Just for
If I put-
sightseeing or whatever.
just with my family, like I don't think I'm going to do it in the future. And I just might, I don't know. Maybe I'm being unreasonable and I'm just getting too many news stories and I'm thinking about Kobe Bryant. And so those things are scaring me. But statistically, you're totally safe. But I am getting radicalized a little bit.
Yeah, helicopters are, I think, no joke,
Okay.
to be quite honest, and have at it. Have all, like, I would love to have my helicopter pilot's license, right? I love helicopters. They're functional, they're amazing. They go places that, man, I was thinking in was it Jackson? Yeah, Jackson, Wyoming. And well, with Travis Rice and doing some heli. And Travis had the helicopter dude do crazy stuff. Those things are gnarly. Like what you can do in a helicopter is gnarly. But yeah, I don't think I would get on one. I mean, I guess I would, but I wouldn't be actively seeking out a helicopter sightseeing tour thing.
I think I'm over it at this point.
Yeah.
I need to see some stats, but because rational mind will accept the stats, but right now I feel a little bit trepidatious of helicopters.
Don't like it.
Don't want to bring my family. The idea of a whole family going down is
Oof.
like devastating. Final note with 2 minutes left in the show. Leonardo Fioravanti versus Jordy Smith. The waves are absolutely cooking. Almost looks like J-Bay. And Leonardo needed a 7-point something ride, and he got a set wave and surfed it flawlessly. I'm feeling like it could be a 10-point ride.
Ooh-wee. Surf news at the end of a surf podcast. Who would have thunk it?
I might be overcooking it a little because I'm just caught up in the moment. And the funny thing is, I have Leo as my survival pick, so now I'm going to ride him to the bitter end. But really, I would prefer Jordy win this heat if I didn't have any skin in the game. But seeing Leo get that ride when he needs the score, I want to give him a 10.
Good job. Good job, Leo. Leonardo Fioravanti.
Really impressive surfing and like composure, like needing the score and surfing to his full potential on that ride. So we'll
Did
see
he
what
dodge the
happens.
barrel?
No, he actually got barreled on it, but he didn't. That was the only thing he could do on that section. He came out of a huge carve off the opening, and then it was running down the line real fast. And instead of just going low, he took it high and got a little tube when he was high.
Good job, Leo.
But okay, well, Chaz, great show. Have a great day, and I'll see you on Noble Rod on Monday.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Keep working.